while and on without a clue, without a sign, without grasping it. The real question to be asked: where have I been? I'm a sharpshooter at Post Masquerade, hiding both face and mind, all free for you to draw. I'm a sharpshooter. What else should I be? Please don't take off my mask, revealing dark. Moments of calm, nothing left to be found. A mirror right in front of me, that's where I found an empty glass, reflecting that's a truth. It's telling words not to be told. I need that mask. I'm a sharpshooter at Post Masquerade, hiding both
Welcome,
face and
welcome,
mind,
stream
free for you to
to
draw.
Open Office week number 2. Not happening on the normal Sunday. I'm just gonna lower this music a bit. Welcome, stream. So I just wanna. Sorry. I just wanted to say welcome. And kind of explain what our thing today is. Today we are going to go over the basics of how to use the operating system known as Linux. To quickly describe what an operating system is, or an OS, operating system. An operating system is, in the simplest terms, the software in which you actually use your computer. It is the underlying program and instruction sets for everything. So normally you would use Windows, right? That's what we are even using on my Streambox. Both Streamboxes, as I talked about earlier, this is a laptop and I have a desktop that does all of the encoding for the stream. But so Windows is the normal one that everyone's familiar with. Now, kids growing up, going to school currently might also know Google Chrome Book, I think, is the name of the operating system. But the Google Chrome OS that runs on Chromebooks, I think, is called Chrome OS, maybe called Chromebook. Maybe called Chromebook OS. So those two are probably the ones you're more familiar with. Your phone has operating systems, of course, and our two familiar ones are iOS that runs on Apple's iPhones. Oh, sorry, I forgot about a big one for desktops is Mac OS for people that use Apple MacBooks. Those are the three you'll generally know. I think more and more people are learning that Chrome OS exists, but the big two for the longest time are Mac OS and Windows. For the phones, the two big ones are, of course, Android and iOS. Android is a open source, but it is owned by Google. And the parameters of many phones that exist for them. Oh yeah, I forgot to mute the music after the end of the last song. The Google, and this goes on everything, right? Google specifically has phones called Pixels, but kind of dumb because like most people know Android through Samsung's Galaxy line. But all in all, everything you interact with that is effectively a computer has an operating system. Even the Nintendo Switch and 3DS and every game console has its own operating system. Nintendo Switches has its own proprietary operating system. I think it's Linux based. I could be wrong. Xbox, I know, is Microsoft based. Sony's is probably again a Linux based. There's a lot of things that are Linux based. But we are just going to go over the simplistics of Linux desktops. Specifically, we are doing Ubuntu. And even more specifically, it is 24.04, I believe. We're going to fact check myself right there. I would like to not... 24.04, and we're going to do the desktop version. If you go onto their website, you'll see that they have a desktop and a server version. I want to drive this in. I want to drive the point that you guys will want to use the desktop version if you want to experience something like this, right? This is a GUI, whereas last time we talked about this. This is a graphical user interface. I am seeing that there's an ad break going. I'm going to pause for the next minute so that way I can just go over what I just did again. I really love that. I really wish that Twitch would know when I transition to a real thing and not just starting stream soon before they just run their ads. And I didn't catch it, so I couldn't have just delayed it. I would have. But hope everyone has been enjoying these streams. I am still getting used to, actually continuing the stream. I say continuing. I mean, I'm still getting used to getting back into the swing of streaming and making sure to keep up, make this entertaining. We have like 9 seconds left of the ad breaks, but then I'll go. Oh, I should clear this up. This will be really fun if I edit this video and have to go through and clear this up. So, hello. Welcome back from the ad break. If you guys have just tuned in, I just wanted to make sure. So there's a GUI. It's called a graphical user interface. That's on the desktop version. A graphical user interface is a user interface is anything that the user interacts with. So Windows is a GUI interface because it has these graphical icons. It has the start button. There's a whole desktop, right? This whole planet thing is a graphic, right? So with that, we're going to do desktop because I want to give you guys the most familiar, where server only gives you your terminal or command line. I use the term terminal because that is what it is called in Linux, or at least in Ubuntu base version. Base version I am using. This is getting into the weeds a little bit, but we should get into the weeds of Linux before I start my mad ramblings. So, in Linux, there are many desktop environments, and the one that Ubuntu defaults with is called GNOME, or I've heard it called GNOME. I know it should just be GNOME, because that's the G is silent in this word, but I also find it funny to just call it GNOME. So, GNOME or GNOME Linux, GNOME or GNOME is the desktop environment. We will get more into that as the stream goes on, or even possibly not. There's a lot to cover about Linux. I want to just get into the base on getting us booted into it, because last week, as I said, I had a problem with Oracle VM or Oracle VirtualBox. Why am I? There's a button right here for that. And the reason that is I had Hyper-V. I also had a problem with VMware, but we're not using VMware for multitudes of reasons. But the reason those both didn't work is because I had Hyper-V enabled, and another one of the extensions that is required for Hyper-V. And those took over all of the things that VirtualBox and VMware need to actually run VMs correctly, or at least 64-bit. I didn't try 32-bit because that might have changed something, but it wasn't worth it. So I had uninstalled this from my machine, and I'm just going to show you OracleBox, and then this is going to be the machine that we do today's stream on. We'll make the Ubuntu machine on here. I'll show you guys how to do it. Once it's up, I will show you all of the commands, all of the things you need to do in Linux to set it up the first time for VirtualBox. And then show you kind of the basics of how to use Linux. It is important to know that in Linux there are different distributions. We will be getting into this after. I want to set up the machine first before I get deep dive into this distribution topic. But just for the overview, there are many different branches of Linux, and Ubuntu, MintOS, and MintOS, which are the two most common I see for new people, are both based on the Debian Linux Linux distro, which is like the master distro. So a fork of Debian is Ubuntu. Mint. You can hear my desktop. That's good. You don't need to hear that. Muting that. Oh no, is that actually? No, does it actually come through? Sorry about that. I know for the people who are really interested in cybersecurity, you'll know Kali Linux. It's a good pen testing or penetration testing OS. For those who are unsure what pen test or penetration testing is, it is when you physically test, when you actively engage in testing the security of a place. So a pen tester will go in with the intent to, they will be hired by a company, or maybe they work for a company, and their job is to actively use exploits and attacks to try to get into the network to see if it's vulnerable to anything. And if it is vulnerable, their job is to then report the vulnerabilities, and then the security team of the company will go and then make a plan to fix it. You might also be involved in the making of the fixes if you are hired internally. But yeah, a lot of cybersecurity people will know this term and will know Kali Linux. But that is also a Debian-based operating system. The only difference between these are generally when the maintainers will update them, how they will update them, and then base included features in the OS. So if Debian comes out with version 20, I don't actually know how Debian numbers them, but I'm assuming since Ubuntu is 24, they're in the 20s. I could be very wrong about that. Somebody might comment and fix that for me. But like hypothetically, let's say Ubuntu's on the kernel level of 24. Oh, it's definitely not. We haven't had that many kernel levels, but we'll go with the hypotheticals. The numbers are wrong. It's fine. So let's say Ubuntu's on the kernel level 24, and Debian pushes out 25. Ubuntu doesn't automatically update to 25. They generally have to implement it. They'll wait a little bit for bug fixes, and then when they can guarantee, at least for Ubuntu LTS, which is long-term support, once they can guarantee long-term support, they will then upgrade Ubuntu. It generally takes them a bit longer. I think their LTS upgrade times are 2 years. So like every 2 years, they do a major long-term support upgrade. You can get non-long-term supports. They come with different warranties and stuff, right? So like your long-term support, your corporations are going to use, because that means Ubuntu is actively supporting this for a very long time. They expect to engage with this for a long time. This operating system for a long time, or this version of the operating system. But anyways, I said I wanted to get building before I got into the weeds of this, and we're already into the weeds. So let's get this built. So in VirtualBox, I showed this before last stream, but we'll go through it again. You're going to click New, because this is going to be a new operating system if you are following along. If this is a video, you will probably need to pause a few times, because I'm going to go through this kind of quickly. If you are live and are stuck, just chat, put into chat, and I can explain any issues you have. I can even try to troubleshoot, though I'm not guaranteeing that I can fix your issues. There's many issues that could arise from VirtualBox. It could be as simple as you had Hyper-V enabled. So we go to new, we build a box. We're going to call this Ubuntu. You'll notice that VirtualBox automatically detects Ubuntu and automatically puts us in 64-bit. It's going to always prefer 64-bit if it can do it. That's because you can allocate more RAM, you can have more space on your disk. 64-bit is just the better way. I think Windows 11 finally killed support for 32-bit. I could be wrong about that, but I don't quote me on that, though they have ARM support as far as I'm aware. I just said ARM. That's going to confuse a lot of people. Don't worry about that. That is hardware. We will talk about that down the road. Right now, Linux. So we make a machine called Ubuntu. Oh, yes, my favorite thing. We're already getting back into the weeds of this. So last week, you guys might know that I talked about memory and how in virtual machines and in a lot of things, it likes to know megabytes. Megabytes is equal, 1 megabyte is equal to 1024, as shown here, of RAM. RAM is random access memory. It is when your computer is doing and needing to access random files, but doesn't need to keep them on the drive and needs to access them quickly, it goes into RAM. RAM is hyper important for many applications. And your OS also needs RAM because it does random things. It needs to just dump things into RAM so that way your processor can get to them quicker and resolve your operating system fast. You don't want your operating system bogged down, because if your operating system's bogged down, then everything is bogged down. So with this, you might have grown up hearing that 1 gigabyte is equal to 1,000 megabyte. And this is fundamentally wrong. It is not 1,000. You might know this from 1 terabyte as well. 1 terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes, is also a incorrect statement. I don't know. This is because people are using base 10, and that is not how binary works. Because of binary and because of it being bits, which are 8 digits of, I need 2 more, of binary. If it has 8 and you put 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, we can actually pull up a calculator. We can actually pull up, I think even just our Windows calculator can do this for us. Yes, if you go into this and go into Programmer, you can see that it has decimal, which is where you're getting the 1,000. Bin is binary. So if we want to go, binary is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, which is a bit. You'll see that it is 2. You'll see that is 255. Now, the thing about this is Yugo is, because it's always base, this is actually 255 is the last value, but computers start at 0. So there is actually 256. 256 is 1 byte. 1 digit in binary is a bit. So in 1 byte there is 8. And this is a long convoluted way to say that there's, I think there is 8 bits and bytes, but there are 1,024 bytes in a kilobyte, 1024 kilobytes in a megabyte, and 1024, and then up and up and up, like then 1024 megabytes, then 1024 gigabytes, then 1024 terabytes to petabytes, all the way up. This to say, I just want to get people familiar with how binary counts. I don't deal with binary a lot because it's people who deal with binary all the time are generally like electrical engineers, people who are working almost directly with the components, and that's just not what I do. This is all a long-winded way to say that I just want you to be aware that 1 gigabyte is actually 1024 megabytes, and 1 terabyte is 1024 gigabytes. And the reason that you'll see hard drives say 1,000 is that they're using the decimal value, which is wrong. They're just wrong. So in this case, this is defaulting to 1 gigabyte of RAM, and that's a little too low. So I recommend Linux. Minimum for Linux is recommended to, I believe, 2 gigabytes. Windows 11 is 3 gigabytes. I'm going to recommend at least a minimum for a home lab that you're going to actually use. You need to go to 4 gigabytes for Linux. If it is a Windows machine, I would go 8 gigabytes if you can. Windows doesn't like RAM too much. Okay, so 2 gigabytes is easy. It's 2 1024s, right? So that is 2048 megabytes or 2 gigabytes of RAM, which is the minimum recommended requirement. I'm recommending 4 gigabytes, which is 4096. And 8 gigabytes would be 8196. 2. I'm going to go with probably 8 gigs for this machine because it's going to be the only thing really running on my machine. And this machine has 32 gigabytes of RAM. So for my machine, giving it 8 gigabytes of RAM, it's not going to matter too much, especially since it's the only thing running. So 8 gigabytes is 8192. So in here, you could drag this to get there, which I hit. It does wind up like sticking almost. Like as you would approach it, it like kind of snaps to an even RAM amount, even gigabyte RAM amount. Just in case you're unsure of how much to give it. Sometimes I forget, right? I don't think the timesing 1024 by anything is not easy mental math. But you can also just type it. I could just type. Just want to show you that that's an option. I just dragged it. We're going to clear the screen as we are talking. We are continuing to get past where I was initially thinking. More in depth than I was expecting. But this is good. I like to rant a lot about computers. And hopefully you guys enjoy listening. We're going to create a virtual hard disk. I don't have one already. If you did, let's say you had a machine once already and you wanted just to copy the virtual disk over to a new machine, you could add it here. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, you could use an existing, or you could tell it to just not make one. I don't know. I guess you could theoretically, if you were like, you were just setting up the system to then, when you wanted to, you could then make it. I just don't know why you would. But I'm sure there's a use case. But we're going to just create a new one. We don't have one. This is important. This part is important to think about. So with VirtualBox disk image, it is proprietary. I think other systems can read it, but it is not as universally accepted. So this is kind of just if you're going to use it within VirtualBox, right? Like if you're not going to move it around, but maybe you're starting this and you got Oracle VirtualBox because you don't have a Windows Pro or EDU key. You could give it a virtual hard disk drive. Like you could just be like, oh, I want to play around with it, and then I might be going to school next semester where I'll get an EDU key, and I would like to keep my lab and not have to rebuild it. You could actually make it a virtual hard disk drive, which is way more compatible for any virtual machine management software. I think the same is true for the virtual machine disk. I haven't used this one much. I've always used this one for anything that I'm going to use or move around. So I might like host a VM, like I might host a virtual machine disk up in the cloud and I might use it on multiple machines because I'm crazy like that. Especially if I'm like, oh, I'm working on like a little code project and this is all set up to be exactly what I want it to be. It has the dependencies I need for the code. This is really great because I can just throw it up on like any of the cloud services providers, then pull it down from any of my machines and run it on whatever virtual machine software it has. Wow, sorry about that. We're just gonna use this. This isn't gonna move anywhere. I'm gonna use just VirtualBox disk image, but the process doesn't change from here. You can just choose which one you want. You don't get different prompts for using a different option. I can't say that's true for this one, but I would expect that to not be different. So the difference between dynamic and fixed is important. So dynamic, max size it can take up, but only what takes what needs. So in this case, or with this, so a dynamically allocated virtual machine drive has a max size you can give it. So let's say you give it 50 gigs, but it only uses you just install the operating system, maybe a couple applications, maybe it takes up 16 gigabytes. That's the only amount of space it's going to take from that 50 you gave it on your disk. So if your disk's small and you could give it 50, but you don't really want to give it the whole 50, you can just do this, and then it will take up the 50 if it needs to. Like if you download a bunch and it goes to 50, it will go to 50, but it won't go over that. Where fixed sizes are good if you want to just make sure that the space is on the disk. Oh yeah, so this has downsides to it. I'll explain the downsides. I was going to explain the downsides, but we'll get through my explanation, then I'll explain the downsides. My ADHD goes wild. So fixed size is if you give it 50 gigs, the file on the disk will be 50 gigs. It will just take up the whole amount you allocate to it. So the downside to 50 to the fixed is takes the space even if not needed. The downside to dynamically will take space even if it eats your disk to full. So the downside to dynamic is that if you don't have the 50 gigs and it tries to take it, it will cause problems. Because it's going to try and just eat. You will go to 0 bytes, and then it will start crashing because it cannot take more space, and it needs to, and it's a whole mess. I've never seen it break my machine, but I have seen it just act weird. It just doesn't like it. It can't use the more space. And if you don't know, going to that red line in Windows, so let's see if I can show you. I definitely don't have a red. I definitely don't have a red bar on mine, but so right, this is blue, right? If yours goes to red, so if it goes here, it might go red. The reason Windows warns you about this is if you go to 0, lots of things stop working. I know particularly for me, when I do photography, Photoshop will put my machine to red and then not work because it can't. It puts a lot of things in my hard drive as a temp file. It's wacky and zany. Now that could be I just don't have enough RAM. Very possible, but it happens. So I'm gonna go with dynamically allocated. I just prefer that. I would rather not just lose 50 gigs to just nothing. I just would rather not lose the 50 gigs to nothing, even though I don't really care. But I like this just more than fixed normally. But fixed is very good. Corporations love fixed because it shows them how much resources they need to allocate to it. without the worry that they look healthy and then all of a sudden a handful of developers decide that they want to actually use all 50 gigs, and then all of a sudden your disk fills up, even though it looked like it was fine when you were allocating everything. Fix is definitely better if you just want to have the actual facts of how much data could be taken up. But if you don't need that, or if you want to keep your footprint small unless you need it, dynamically allocated is the way to go. It's recommending 10 gigs. I'm going to give it 50. Arbitrarily a lot, but also if I have to use this for more than anything. And that's the process, technically, of making it work. I can boot this up. It won't boot into Ubuntu, though. So to get it to Ubuntu and boot properly, because you'll notice it didn't ask me how much CPU power I want. And that's because this little goof thinks it just needs 1 core. Now, I think the minimum is 2. I recommend 4. I'm giving this 8. This will depend on your system entirely. I know I had a system not even that long ago that only had 8 cores. This one has 24 threads. No, actually, it doesn't even like me going this high. I think it's because this is one of the this has the efficiency core computers. Make it 100. Make what 100? 100 gigabytes? I mean, a little too late. I probably would have, though. 100 I don't have 100 cores in this system. Now, however, in the lab that I'm thinking about buying, possibly. Oh yeah, wait. Where's my sticker thing? One moment. I just want Threadripper. Sticker's supposed to be working. Yeah, I got what you were. Get a Threadripper to do they even? I don't even know if they make. Here, let's look this up live. Threadripper. So I guess if I could get 2 Threadrippers, I could have. I guess if I could get 1 Threadripper, I could actually have 128 threads, which threads can count as virtual cores. Yeah. So my entire computer is worth less than this. My entire computer is worth less than this. I have a system. Buy it? No. I'm thinking about buying a dual core Xeon processor. Okay, it just says Derry. That's fine. I was actually worried that Amazon was going to leak my actual location. That would be a little sad. Dual core? No, dual CPU. No, like has 2 CPUs in it. It will have I think it's like 80 cores or something dumb like that. Yeah. No, like an actual server grade workstation. I just don't have the money for it. Even though it's cheap, I don't actually have the money for it right now. Oh, hey, look, stream sticker showed up. So, stream stickers for those in Twitch chat. If you want to torture me, you can put stickers right on my stream, and I am in fact using OBS for my stream. I'm gonna snore that ad break again. So yeah, you can put stickers right on my screen. If I pull up, I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna pull up an example of what you can do if you want to ruin my day. Or possibly ruin my day. So, what it will look like, sorry, this thing requires 20 things to log in, is, I don't exactly know how like you donate to it and stuff. I can just kind of see what I do. But like you could just it will do things like this. It will play loud music. It will actually I'm using OBS, so whatever that was whatever it's covering, I can't click on. But yeah, no, I'm not buying a Threadripper. This is so much money. This is too how much is a 4090 right now? RTX 4090. Oh, RTX 4090. I have too many things. Yeah. So the CPU is just double the retail cost of a fucking 4090. It's very reasonable. Hydrate. Okay, hold on one moment. I don't have water next to me. So I will do the next best thing. I'll even put on some stream music for you while I go get it. Okay. So, oh shoot, is Spotify dead now? Did I just break the Spotify thing? That's so funny. Anyways, you want to hydrate? I mean, it's gonna not hydrate me, but hey. Oh god, it's 2 in the afternoon and I'm cracking a Red Bull. I don't have water near me. Yeah, no, that's not even water. That's the actual alcohol. You want me to? I could drink paint thinner. You? No, hold on, wait. No, Twitch, this is a joke. This is a joke. I could like. Do you want like? I could just drink this. Your venti coffee. You're on the second. Oh my god. I haven't even finished installing Linux. What? God damn it! You distracted me. Twitch, this is a joke. I do not drink this. This will actually kill you, and it won't even be a fun death. It will literally be pain and suffering. You could see the mess behind me. Whoops. Just ignore that. Oh goddamn. Okay. Anyways, so yeah. So I'm gonna give it 8 cores. You can give it how much you want. I think it technically minimum needs 2. Refresher for after. Jason, what is? I'm realizing you're just self-medicating with caffeine. Actually, no, this is fine. The other thing you have to do here, another thing you don't technically have to do. Why is my chat box? I really wish it would not. I really wish it would not just auto delete the things from the chat. Like, I want the chat box to not disappear so quickly. Anyways, I need to not do this on stream. Maybe that will be next stream. So one thing you don't have to do, but I like to do is I like to up the amount it can deal with and give it 3D acceleration. This will just make the desktop feel a little bit better, work a little bit faster. All right, that's my last ad snore. I'm sorry, I cannot pause it anymore. You are getting an ad in 5 minutes. So video memory we put up to 128. You can enable recording and stuff. You could actually let it have access to multiple monitors. I only have one, so. Then we go to storage. This is the last. That's fine. Gives me time to catch up. That's true. The stream from last week is up on Twitch. I don't know where I want to put it on YouTube. And I kind of want to. I'm going to just upload the first few as VODs. I don't think I give enough details to like cut it down to educational without it being annoying for an editor. And I don't have an editor. I don't have. Yeah, I just don't have an editor. And I don't have the willpower to edit. The last step you need to do. So recap, we went into the system. You should upgrade the processors. It only gives you one. I recommend upping the video memory. And which option are you on their thing? That's actually a great question. VirtualBox. So you're on the website. Do you have Windows? Okay. No, this is great. I actually didn't think about how confusing. So you're at the download section. You're on Windows 11. Okay. So is this the part that you're confused by? So for this, yeah, so you have a Windows host. So you're going to want to click this one and it will just do the download. The host, we can describe this. The host PC is the machine that the VMs are run off of. So the VMs are on a host. So you're running a Windows host. So yeah, this is the one you want. I think technically you can also. I'm gonna test this theory. I only go to the downloads because I'm weird. Oh no, yeah, I guess clicking the downloads, yeah. So in most cases, this is good for people who want to use VirtualBox. Again, I recommend VirtualBox if you don't have Windows Pro or EDU and education and can't use Hyper-V. I recommend Hyper-V for a lot of people who are trying to get into IT, but VirtualBox is a great tool otherwise. If you don't have EDU Pro or you're just curious and you don't want to set up Hyper-V because it's a little bit more involved. A little bit. I'll actually show you how to do that maybe at the end of the stream. But yes, this is important. So the host is what you are running off of. So for most people, you're going to want Windows. This is the normal thing everyone uses. macOS, unfortunately, you can only use this if you're using the older Intel-based macOS systems, not any of the M1 through, I think they just announced the M4, maybe the M3. Apple Silicon chips. It doesn't work. And then for Linux distributions, it's here, except for if you know what these are, you know you need to use them. If you don't know what these are, you're good. Solaris is a very old operating system, and it's only used by very specific people. But yeah. Do you need the thing for here, let me just grab it anyways. I'm gonna throw the link in for the version of Ubuntu we are using. It is the latest version, so it's not It's not anything special. But just in case you didn't have that, we are using Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, which stands for long-term support. There's going to be an ad playing in about 19 seconds, which means I'm going to continue. I'm not going to continue on this. I'm probably just going to I'm going to grab something else because we're going to be doing not. Oh, did it just decide to not do an ad break? That would be really funny. I think there's an ad break going on. So, for people who can see this or after the fact, this is kind of our behind the scenes. So next week I was supposed to be building my lab. As I talked about, I don't have the money to buy the thing I want for the lab. So unless I get lucky, or maybe I ask to borrow money from a friend, just so that way I can pay him back on payday, we might be going over something different. And I kind of want to go over hardware first. How much base memory, RAM? Okay, yeah, so you missed the RAM chalk, so you're gonna... Oh, no, there's an ad break. If you're not still with us, 4 gigabytes or 4096 megabytes. Yeah, in case you can't hear, there's in case you're watching this in the future, there's a chatter who needs just help. It's one of my moderators, who just needs help. He's catching up now with what's going on, which is great. I'm doing this to educate people. Please, if you see these in the future on YouTube, please leave a comment asking questions. I will try to do a portion of a stream if we get big enough or get enough interactions where I'm getting questions a lot. I'm definitely going to put in a segment into the streams to answer common questions. I'll probably just go over things that I missed or I most spoke on as well. I am not the be-all, end-all knowledge for IT. Heck, I'm a DevOps engineer. I'm like, I don't do development work, but like, I'll talk a lot about developers and I'll get some information wrong. Or I'll talk about something that I don't really know and I'll get information wrong. Regardless, if I catch that I said something wrong in the last stream or I find out new information, I'm going to try to make like a segment probably at the beginning where I'll do like, here's the comments, questions for the beginning, or like, here's my fix for issues I found last stream. Sorry. Stream's gonna see this really weirdly, but I'm actually annoyed at how small. Nope. Okay. And then we'll transition. Sorry, I just didn't like how small that webcam was. It just made me feel restricted. There is background you can see. Is it this? Oh, it is. Oh, it's the Red Bull cans. Just ignore those. It's fine. I don't have a problem. Fuck. Sorry guys, I spilt Red Bull all over my drawing pad and my desk. Did you, I guess you didn't get slapped with an ad break. I was expecting you to. Sorry about that. Where do I slap the ISO? Yep. So I was just getting to that. That was actually the part that I missed. So yeah. Now I feel like I've. So yeah. System, CPUs, displays. Go here. Enable that. Then for your ISO, because you're gonna need the ISO to actually use the machine. An ISO is a disk image. It's how your machine will boot into an operating system, so that way you can actually install it the first time. So you're going to go here. You're going to go to the IDE controller. Under there, there should be something with a disk. If you don't see that, you can add it. I'm using the wrong mouse. You can add it like this, and then it's under... Or I guess if you have the controller, sorry, it's... Yeah, if you don't see it, it's add an optical disk. We have it here, so you just come here. You're going to choose a disk image file. You won't have this just here, so you're in... And wherever it's put, it will probably be put into your downloads. I have them stored away. And then you click OK, and that is it. That is how you make a virtual machine in VirtualBox. Now, to power it on, you just press the start button. All right. Okay, so in here, you're gonna just... yeah, it's gonna capture your mouse. It's gonna be very frustrating for the first bit. But yeah, so you're gonna go in there. It's gonna capture your input devices, which is both your keyboard and your mouse. You're gonna press try or install. I'm getting an error for the... What error are you getting? We're gonna minimize that. What type of... Yeah, what error are you seeing? Failed to open disk image. Is it done downloading? You can easily shoot me. This is where I'm thinking about opening a Discord server so that way people can show screenshots. Whoops. It wasn't done downloading. Oh, that's fun to know. I doubt you guys heard that, but that was really funny. Nope. Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. Wait, hold on, what? Can I just not see the thing I need to? What? Oh, there. I just didn't scroll down. So yeah, you might need to use the scroll down here. You might not need to. I think it's because I'm in like 1080p mode and my computer hates it. But it is because that's all I'm going to be able to stream at. Accessibility in Ubuntu. This is really cool that they do this. There's a bunch of options in here. I'm not the person to speak on accessibility to see if these are actually great options or bad options, but they're here if you need them. We're gonna use a wired connector. It automatically, I think, connects to bridge mode. If it doesn't work, we'll troubleshoot that live. Then we're going to go and install Ubuntu. As you can see, you could try it out. So what you can do with ISOs, you can just take a USB stick, make an ISO, and then just use that to boot into. This is really good if you want to be like, oh, I want to boot into. It's really good for troubleshooting, first off, because if you can't get something working, you could just try to boot into a different thing to see if you can find the issue. Find the issue with the computer. Another great thing is there's an Linux operating system called Tails. And what Tails does is it is effectively is just a computer. It is just for anonymity, effectively. So you can just plug this in. You can open up to an operating system. You can do whatever you need to do. Like, let's say you want to be feel like a hacker and go to the dark web, or Tor, short for IT has a bunch of acronyms. The Onion router. Or maybe you just want to use somebody's computer for a bit to just surf the web, right? We'll talk more about Tor, the Onion router, and the dark web, and the truths behind it versus the myths that so plague the internet in a later episode. But Tails is nice because as soon as you pull you shut down and pull the USB out, or I think you can pull out the USB in an emergency and it shuts it down. But as soon as you turn off the machine, nothing you do is saved. So like the USB might have lingerings, but I doubt it. The operating system is really designed to just delete everything because it hosts it all on. I actually don't think it does, because I think it hosts everything onto RAM except for there's a way of doing persistent storage, but we're getting a little into the weeds, and I'm trying to avoid that. But the great thing about Tails is as soon as you shut it down in its base configuration, since everything is stored on RAM, it leaves. Now, getting information off of RAM is technically possible. And I would love, my old college professor had somebody come in to do a demonstration of how you can freeze a RAM to take data off of it. And I would love to see if I could get in contact with him to do that demo for a live stream, because I think it is incredible how RAM actually physically works and how you can exploit cold weather. Now, again, no reasonable law enforcement's doing that, right? First off, they need the machine as soon as you turn it off. They need to know how to do this, and I don't even know if it's considered reliable enough for court. I've just seen people do it, and I think it's cool. Now, that being said, they could be reliable for court, but again, it's really anonymity because RAM just dumps information pretty quickly. We're going to click install. We're going to do the interactive. Automation is only if you're a weirdo who loves automation like me. But I don't have an automation for this, and I wouldn't want to show you guys an automated script without teaching you the basics. So the default selection just gives you the essentials. The extended version gives you more things. I'm just going to do the default because this isn't my personal home computer. This is just a lap box. But if you were installing this on your physical machine, because you can install Linux not as a VM, you could install it on your host machine, which I do pretty commonly. You might want the extended selection because you might want the offline tools and stuff. Again, this is not important for a VM, but it is very important when you're installing for a physical machine, because if you have a NVIDIA card, you want this if you have a weird Wi-Fi card, or I think any Wi-Fi card, you're just going to want to install the software and drivers for it. Drivers are how the operating system talks to the hardware in your computer. And I'm probably going to want to be able to play MP3s, MP4s, movies, and other file types. Again, I don't need to for this lab computer. For VM, this is always the option. If you're installing it on a machine, you might want to go in here to set what is called a dual boot, which means your computer will have 2 operating systems on it, and you can choose which one to go into at on power on. For a VM, this disk has nothing in it. We're just going to erase it and install Ubuntu on it. Where did that go? What just happened? Ooh, I might have to. Okay, speedrun time. I don't know what happened there. So you're just gonna write your name, Jello. You gonna need a password. It does not let you not. We're just gonna make a. What is? Wait, hold on. Is it? I've never had it crash this many. I've never had this happen to me once, let alone multiple times. I can't see any button. There's no buttons I need to press here. What? That's fine. This crashing and my ramblings on other things. Yeah, let me know if you need. I don't know what's happening. I've never had this happen. Like, I'm not joking. I've done this. I did this 5 times this morning just to make sure I wasn't missing anything. In none of the 5 times of doing this morning, it did not do this to me. Well, you probably didn't get an ad because you're a moderator. I don't think mods can get ads. Although Logan was getting them. You don't subscribe to Twitch Turbo, do you? I mean, I think it's great that no, okay. Because I know there are a few people that it would make sense not to. Yeah, I agree it would. So I'm just gonna reboot this machine because it's being a little goof. A little gaff. So in here, the best way to restart is just kind of up here and restart. Yeah. It's one of the better ways. I could have done it through there. We're just gonna speed run through this again. I think as this is installing, I'm gonna bring up. I think I'm gonna want to bring up the conversation of distros, but I'm afraid I am not the most qualified to talk about it. Because it gets in depth kind of quickly. I think I'm just gonna bring up the couple. I'm just gonna look for like a list of top 10 Linux distros and talk about like the branching across distros and types. We'll probably just talk about that when this is actually installing, which is going to be a while from now if it keeps crashing on me. And I want to say, you will notice that you have to like drag this up and down. We will be fixing that, but I need Linux installed first before I can show you how to fix it. It's not a hard fix, especially because Ubuntu/Debian makes it very user-friendly to just change anything. Opening the VM now. Okay. Yeah, it seems like you're not that far behind. Is there a... Oh my god, I know what's happening. We're just going to unplug that for now. Alright, I think what is happening is the Red Bull. I think the Red Bull has fucked me. .30 erase. Did somebody subscribe and it not tell me? My sub goal went up. If somebody subscribed and it didn't tell me, thank you. Why didn't it tell me? So far that Twitch, I was testing out your... Oh, hi. Nothing else on. It's the weirdest thing. Twitch doesn't even know that I have a subscriber. It's not in my mod activity. Hi. You come to listen to me ramble about how Linux is great? Trust me, I'm not an Arch Linux person. I'm nicer. What is happening? Twitch is Linux is the greatest. It actually is actively not letting me install it. I broke it. You broke it. Oh, it's like, yeah, but I got a notification that my friend from the first Twitch Prime. Let me... Alright, hold on. Let me get through this automation, or this installer, which is actively cucking me. What? Yeah, no, it's literally broken. What? What? Tear down this fucking machine. I've never in my years had this problem. Oh, you did break it, Jason. Did you increase or enable 3D did you enable 3D acceleration and up your 1 to 128? Because this could also be a weird goddamn fucking BIOS setting, because nothing is easy. I don't remember, that was 10 minutes ago. Oh, sorry. I've been having, struggles of my own. Did you get past it? Dude, I've never had this happen before. I've installed this today like 5 times. Okay, you got past it? Cool. Oh, yeah. Cool. I wish stickers was not as, annoying. Now it's going through the process you're crashing on. Yep. Hopefully you can get past this part. Oh, I cheated. Oh, there we go. All I had to do was not use the mouse. We're winning. I don't know why. I could not tell you what caused that. I at a loss of words. I just waited and it did the thing, I guess. Yeah, yeah. It'd be like that sometimes. Sometimes the best option is to just patience your way through. All right, we're gonna bring up a whiteboard. We're gonna talk about the thing that every Linux person loves. We're gonna ruin their perception. We're gonna talk about distributions. Distributions? I can't spell. Or interactive. Automation is for scripts and stuff that will do it for you, which you shouldn't have. Not should it. Like, if you have them, you have them. But I'm going to guess you don't. Because I'm going to guess you don't know what the word YAML is. All right. So first, before I get into this, let me actually just double check to make sure I'm not missing something. Well, I have 7 sponsorship deals. That's cool. Yeah, no, nothing caught your. Only my sub goal caught your eye. That's wild. So, I'm gonna pull up a list of 10 best distributions from a random thing. So we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about Ubuntu, Linux Mint, I'm going to talk about Elementary. Not in the 10. I think just so long as I'm not mistaken about. Yeah, we'll talk about Elementary OS. There's a couple operating systems that are like this, but I just know Elementary is. We're gonna talk about the now as far as I understand, the now dead OS, CentOS, but I think it's important. We can't talk about Linux without talking about the annoying guy. Arch Linux users, I love you, but literally every single one of you has told me you use Arch Linux within the first 10 minutes of me meeting you. We're going to talk about Manjaro, which I'm sure the Arch Linux people love. We'll just talk about SteamOS as well, because SteamOS is a lot of people's introduction to Linux. And in consequence, we're going to talk about Red Hat. Fedora, and then we'll talk about OpenSUSE. OpenSUS. Is it installing? Probably. It's installing. Probably. If you see it, Mine might have already installed. Anyways, we're not gonna. We're gonna deal with that in a moment. Worst case is I take a 10-minute intermission. I leave you guys with some music. I just and then I just get it working because I can just hop over to my computer. I can just move over to the computer that's actually doing all of the streaming to pull up a VM and Linux. Or I can just actually reboot the laptop into Linux and I can just show you guys from there. That will probably be what I do if this isn't working. Yeah, so these are the ones we're going to talk about. So Ubuntu. So we have a distro or the big branch distro for most things is called Debian. Debian will host your Ubuntus. Your Ubuntu is under there. Your Linux Mint. Your Kali Linux for your cybersecurity nerds. And I should get these researched. I should actually have references references available more. We'll deal with that. We'll come to that later. The VOD, I will hopefully put references down in the little description box below. And yes, that is correct. So, and Steam OS is also a Debian-based operating system. I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure. So, why I want to talk about Elementary here. So, all of these stem from Debian. Debian is a company that hosts this, and then the companies that own the various things, right? SteamOS is managed and updated by Steam. Kali Linux is wow, what is Kali Linux? I don't actually remember the company name. I should. Offensive Security manages Kali. And Lint and Ubuntu have their own teams. This is like chronology or something. But with that, Elementary isn't just a fork of Debian. It is under the Debian things. It is specifically a fork off of Ubuntu. So as Ubuntu forked itself off of Debian, Elementary forked itself off of Ubuntu. The reason they do this is just generally that they might want to build a very specific use case. I think Elementary OS is for learning. I am speaking out of my rear end. Let me just look it up. No, it's not. It looks nice. Yeah, no, that's their selling point is that it looks nice. But you might build a educational focused operating system, and you might want to go, oh, we like Ubuntu, but we want to package it so it's very specific for our needs. So that's why you do fork. So Ubuntu wanted to fork off of Debian to make it very more user friendly. Kali wanted to fork off of Debian, but make it very security focused. Mint, I think, also wanted to do a basic beginner thing. And SteamOS, of course, Steam wanted an OS that it could use, so that way it could focus on a handheld portable gaming system. So with this, right, then you go into the other thing. So there is another big branch of Linux called Red Hat. And you probably know Red Hat if you go into enterprising for computer science. Enterprises love it because of a operating system that is Red Hat is a distribution that is created by a company called Red Hat, and the main thing that people know it for is their commercial version of Red Hat called Red Hat Enterprise License, or short form RHEL. RHEL, we're currently, I believe, on RHEL 9. So it's the 9th major version of RHEL. Some people might still be using RHEL 8, because I think 9 came out not that long ago. And they're, I believe, both supported. So Red Hat is a company. They have a enterprise license. What that means is that they have what an enterprise license, or for RHEL, what that means is there's a commercial support license. So most Linux operating systems are free. You can just download them, you can run them. There is no need to pay money, unlike Windows, which is like, I don't know, Home Edition's like $120 or something. $100. Pro is $150. So instead, in most cases, Linux is open source and generally free. RHEL is a weird exception with that because you need to register with a support license, and then you can get their support. It's really meant for enterprises. They used to have a thing called CentOS, which is why we called it RIP in peace. CentOS used to be a fork of RHEL or Red Hat, made by Red Hat for free. So users would use. Am I losing frames? Nope, I just lost connection to chat for some reason. That's cool. So, Red Hat used to make CentOS, which was a free version. So, like, your work would buy RHEL enterprise licenses for the commercial support, so that way they could get enterprise grade level help, and you could just get CentOS to run on your home computer. You cannot do this anymore, as far as I understand, and I don't believe they have I believe they have technically a free version. It's a RHEL license for personal use, and you don't get any support with it. So I believe that might have been their kill off. Fedora. As far as I understand Fedora, it is a fork of Red Hat. Or Red Hat is a fork of... Guys, I have notes and stuff. I did like work on this, and I'm just throwing it all out the window. Yes. Yeah, okay, yeah. It is a fork. In 2003, Fedora forked off of Red Hat. To effectively do... kind of as a continuation of Red Hat, there might have been... Sorry. It is technically a fork of Red Hat, but it is an upstream fork, so like Red Hat like makes this and then used to make CentOS, and then it used to come down here, and now it's a weird fork of Red Hat. I've never used Fedora. I don't know anyone who's ever used it, but I'm sure there's a reason to use it. I'm sure there are people that use it and a reason to use it. I just am not the person to tell you why. I think I looked it up for a little bit and was like, I'm confused. OpenSUSE is its own thing, its own company. I know that they are kind of known for OpenSUSE has its own operating system that's pretty free to use. It feels pretty enterprisey. It's nice. They make a bunch of other things though. So like they make a thing for developers called Rancher for Kubernetes. They're kind of a large company. They do a lot, but one of the things they do is OpenSUSE has a operating system called OpenSUSE. It's a root distro. It has DMR package mint and vanilla version of. Oh my god, that is so helpful. Thank you, Tobias. Yeah, so Fedora is a root distro. It has access to DNF. It has access to the package managers of DFF, RPM. Red Hat RHEL is based on Fedora? Oh, it's upstream, isn't it? Okay, so it's actually the reverse, right? So it's like Fedora feeds into RHEL, which used to feed into Cent. If I'm understanding the upstream correctly. So yeah. Okay, so Fedora is the root, which means it's the top of this chain. RHEL takes from like Fedora updates and stuff, and then the features and bug fixes flow into RHEL, which used to then flow into Cent, but I think Cent is very much dead. Will be okay. So it's okay. So their feature first. Okay. Thank you. That makes way more sense. Yeah. Okay. I don't. Perfect. I've only used RHEL for about 1 year, and my company has. We are thinking about ditching it for Ubuntu fully, but that's a license cost issue. So I was like, I'm kind of far out of this. All right, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you have this. OpenSUSE has their own operating system. They use a package manager. We'll get into package manager soon because I haven't shown you how to do anything with a package manager yet. Yep. But they have one called Zypper. OpenSUSE is just a nice thing. Is a nice operating system. I particularly like it for my home computer. And then Arch Linux. I describe Arch Linux as Arch Linux is a very open, very quick operating system. Yeah, I use Ubuntu most of the time. Like my home computers, except for one, is running Ubuntu. One is running OpenSUSE because I was interested about it. And I used to run Arch Linux until I realized that it was dumb. So Arch Linux is a very. I forget the name, the exact. I forget the exact term we use, but in Ubuntu, Ubuntu does basically version releases of features, where Arch Linux, I think they call it streaming updates or something, where Arch Linux will do very micro updates. So like if they add a rolling releases, that's it. Yeah, it does rolling releases. Which means if you're really into Linux, you get updates and features pretty quickly on Arch. Manjaro, which is one I put up there, is a fork is underneath Arch. It is, I want to say, to Ubuntu as Ubuntu is to Debian. Right. It's just a fork. It's user friendly. The thing about Arch Linux, your learning Linux is it does not give you a GUI. You just kind of have to build the system yourself, which is kind of cool, but also a pain. Rolling releases. Thank you. Which, yeah, I mean, it can. Yeah, I don't think many people who like Arch Linux would ever recommend using it in critical infrastructure. I just think a lot of people who like Arch Linux like Linux, so they want to see all of the cool features on their home computer first, where it's not mission critical. Anyways, this is my ranting about Linux distros. I'm having a problem installing Ubuntu, as we were talking about. I'm going to start it to see if it maybe just fixed itself. If not, I'm just going to reboot my machine, boot it into Ubuntu. We'll go into like a starting stream screen because I might have forgotten to get a BRB screen. Just keep that between you and me. And then I'm going to teach you guys the basics. I wanted to get through this, though, because I want to show you guys how to get the add-ons you need to make this not as ugly as it is. So hopefully I can get through the actual installer this time. It keeps crashing on me. VirtualBox. Or, actually... I will actually probably just not even do that. I will actually just launch a VM from my host computer. I've been in business for 20 years, and to be honest, most people will just be fine with Windows Plus. Yeah, I think there are people who, I think a lot of people are good with Windows, but I think in the same vein, there's a lot of people who are just be good with a Linux desktop. And it's not like Windows is without issues. Not even from like a security or privacy standpoint, they're just bugs in... Wait. What? Sorry. What? Or something out. Yeah, hold on. We're restarting. It's seeing a Linux install here. But hello, yeah. Welcome to the chat. I am just a little about me is I am a DevOps engineer and I just like teaching people computers. So I was like, I want to teach people computers, and I realized that I didn't want to become a teacher because I don't want to go through schooling. So I became yes. Software compatibility is a very big problem. The reason that this computer is running, like this laptop that here is like my main laptop. The reason it's running Windows at all is I use Microsoft Word. That's actually the biggest thing. And my desktop, I do photography, so I need Photoshop and Lightroom to work, and so I use those. I just am forced to use Windows. And again, there's a couple video games I play that have anti-cheats. I do think software compatibility is the biggest issue, but I think the other issue is that Windows dominates so much that it's like a catch-22 where developers aren't going to develop for Linux, so Linux can be the larger sharehold. If Linux was the largest sharehold, they would start developing for that. I think it's getting a little bit better now because video games are being pushed to Linux because of SteamOS and Steam Decks, but I don't think it's perfect. There's an Ubuntu. Oh, of course there's an Ubuntu Pro. Don't mind me. Oh, the next button is up here. Yeah, so you're booting into Ubuntu for the people following along at home. You're going to get some things you're going to want to skip Ubuntu Pro. I guess it is free for up to 5 machines, but again, I'm not here to teach you guys that yet. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's really cool. I might show that in another class. I didn't like I got to this screen and just never thought about it. You can share your system data or not. I'm not going to. And then we're going to finish. So, if you are running VirtualBox from Oracle, you are going to see this really annoying, it doesn't fit my screen. There's an actual pretty easy way to fix this. If you go up to the devices section here, you're going to want to press this Insert Guest Edition CD. This gives your VM and this installs drivers, I believe I am not using the wrong term for drivers. It installs software/drivers that help VirtualBox run the VM and interact with it. One of those things is it stops taking away your keyboard and mouse, which is very nice. Does that run file still just work? I think I have to do other things. Sorry about that. I was looking at my Linux direction or Windows directions. My notes here are incorrect. One thing is I think you can just I want to do it. No, yeah, it doesn't work. Ooh. Ooh, this is a very stable VM. This is great. So to get what is happening? We're just gonna restart this. We're good. There's no need to worry about this. Oh, it's not even rebooting. Hello? Hello? Computer, are you good? Oh, it did not like that. Okay. Sorry about stumbling all over this. This is not supposed to be the hard part. So I know that you can insert the disk, and I know that there is just a command you can run to get this installed. So I'm going to teach you guys the command you can run. I'm pretty sure there's another. I know that there's another way around this problem, but I want to teach you guys to not be afraid of staring at a terminal. So, a terminal is in a lot of cases how you're going to install software. Ubuntu offers other ways of installing software, but there's a lot of times where I think going through the terminal will make it faster. You might actually get the right thing. I have personally been burned by going through the App Store and grabbing the wrong version of something because it was the only option on the App Store. A lot of this comes in something called Fatpaks, which cause problems because of how because it doesn't let it see everything. Or sometimes it's running like a Wine compatibility version. I need the native Linux version. And that will cause problems if you are doing what is called Wine, which stands for Wine is not an emulator. It is a compiler that will translate Windows applications to Linux applications. And the reason that is bad is sometimes it doesn't see everything correctly. Sometimes it crashes because Wine is not always the most stable thing. So I go through this often because it's the best way to install software, in my opinion, because I can go to it will be in the documentation on the developer's website, usually. But in this case, we want to install the little guest OS so that way it will actually more function how I want it to. How VirtualBox on this VM will operate more how I want it to operate. So we're going to go into the terminal. As far as I can tell, every documentation tells me to do this in sudo. I guess it is time for the sudo talk. Like, so sort of, but sudo. Okay. So sudo, like everything in the IT world, is an acronym. No, you're not working? Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Sudo, like everything else in the IT world, is confusing why this is not working. It worked for... Oh, is it just... Oh, it just doesn't see my Wacom tablet. Give me one moment. Sorry about that, guys. I think it might be the Red Bull. We're going to try to relaunch this application and see... All right, yeah, I just had to relaunch it. Sudo, like everything in the IT world, is an acronym. It stands for Super User Queue. What this means is it would be the equivalent for Windows, in Windows going run as admin. This gives it higher privileges to run things. The dangers in that is that if you're not running something you know and can trust, it could bite you, right? If it's an unknown software and you shouldn't trust it, it might break something on you. It might take over your machine. For this case, this is software from Oracle. I know and trust Oracle, as they are the ones that are building, are running the VM anyways, right? If they wanted to do nefarious things, making this be the thing would not be the way to do this. So you're going to want to do sudo. We talked about package managers a little bit while talking about distributions. Every distribution has a different package manager. This one uses what is called apt. You don't have to type apt-get. I'm just an old Linux head, apparently. I didn't know you couldn't do it until like 3-4 months ago. And my mind was blown that you just have to type in get now, apt. But apt-get is just how I've always done it. Install, what this means is that it's going to actually install something. You're going to notice when I talk about the two different ways of updating Ubuntu, you're going to notice that we'll use different types of apt-get commands for this. And Ubuntu isn't the only one that, like Debian operating systems use apt as their package manager. I don't know of anyone that doesn't. Then, for this one, it is called VirtualBox guest addition guest dash addition ISO. So when I press enter on this, it's going to run this command. Because I put in the sudo prompt, it should ask me for my password. This is so that way, you can't just, not everyone can just go up to your machine and start accessing. It will ask you for your password, and it will deny you if you aren't in a group that can do sudo access. So, like, if you wanted to give your kid access to a computer with Linux, you could make them an account that doesn't have root access or sudo ability. I believe the technical term is sudoer. It's going to ask you if you are okay with it taking up 531 additional disk space. You're going to press yes here. You'll notice that's capital. Whatever capital in these prompts are is the default. So if I just hit enter, it would have still done it. So with this, it's going to crank through. It's going to download the packages, download any dependencies that the package requires to run, the software requires to run. And you see it's going to unpack, and then it's going to actually install it and make it work. This might require a reboot. I need to check the documentation fully. Yeah, you do, I believe, have to have inserted that to make this whole thing work. It did not instantly work. So I believe I do need to reboot. So one thing on Linux is you can actually just type in reboot, and it will just reboot. It will just pull off, reboot your operating system. Really easy way if you're in a machine that doesn't have an thing and you just need to do a quick reboot. Linux doesn't always need reboots. What was the full command? Let me just... I got you, bud. I was thinking this as well. I was thinking you might need that full thing again. It didn't fix my... Am I missing something? Changes. I... Wow, this is... I'm hoping your guys' VMs are more stable than mine are right now. I am pretty sure it's... I can't prove it, but I have a feeling it's because I am running a 13 Gen i7, and I know they have efficiency cores, and I'm wondering if I'm running into the problem with the new architecture on Intel. I can't prove that, but it's just going to be my guess. Maybe 8 cores was too flying close to the sun. Oh yeah, it doesn't even want to turn off. Yeah, I can only assume that this is a problem with my laptop and not Virtual Machine or VirtualBox. Which is cool. I very much enjoy when it's a problem. I very much enjoy when it's a problem with my machine. It's just weird because when I do this, I run VMs on this in Linux all the time, and they don't have this problem. But to be fair, I don't generally give them 8 cores either, so... And I guess I'm not using VirtualBox either for it. Another option, we're just gonna see if this will work. Oh, that's not gonna work. Ah, that's what I wanted. Dude, what is going on? Sorry, guys. Give me a few seconds. No, force quit it, man. I don't really care what. All right. Another option is there was actually the button I was looking for, which is the other option. If the command does not work, because my documentation, which I wrote this is documentation that I wrote when I was in college, so I could be a little off on this. Though I was pretty sure it was still going to work. The other option is you can press this run software button, but I think you needed to install that to get that button up. So once you're done that command, if it's not working, you go in here. You still have to like press the device and insert the guest CD image, and then you can run the software. Press return to close this window. I think it said this was already running, but this is not run. Like, was that what that said? I wish I could rewind. I wish Twitch was a little bit better about letting me rewind. Okay. Ah. Yeah, okay. So it tells me now the system needs to be restarted. So now, if you're not in the terminal and you have this, you can actually just restart from up here. It's up on the top where the battery is. That power button. And click. I say that power button like you guys can see me looking at my stream. Ridiculous. $700 bits. Thank you, nothing else on. Hope you are enjoying the struggles of a madman who is on his second Red Bull for the day. Only second. Oh, yeah, okay. Now you can see that it is smaller, which is better. Oh, yeah, okay, now you're seeing that it's going to snap to the size of whatever window the VM is. So if I make it smaller, it's going to make it smaller. If I make it larger, it will make it larger. So now we're going to go through the steps of updating your Linux version. We're also going to remove the disk. So with this, two ways to do updates on Ubuntu specifically. There's a software updater. You can run this. It will start going through and running through updates. It couldn't connect. Oh, yeah, okay. It says it couldn't connect, and then it told me that there was a bunch of things to be downloaded. So you can press this install now, and it will just install it like a normal OS. I'm going to do it the way that God intended us to do it. I mean, that original Linux intended. I don't think there's a wrong or right way. This is looking bad on my screen as 2. All right, there we go. This is working really well. Next week, I'm just running it off of the desktop. Or I'll figure out something. So You can just do it through the software updater. I don't think that's a bad option. I think it's a very good option. It will remind you to do updates when there's critical updates if you forget. But I want to show you guys how you would update on another machine. Something without a GUI, maybe. Maybe you're running like maybe because Linux is designed, a lot of Linux that is used in the world is run for servers. So like, I would guarantee that if you go to google.com right now, they are not running google.com on Windows machines. They're probably running them off of what are called Docker containers, but I'm betting you the host machine is Linux. So Linux makes up, I think the percentage was like 90% of the internet. I know it was over 70. So the majority of the internet, a good majority of the internet is run off of Linux. So that being said, a lot of servers don't have a GUI, which means they don't have that software updater. And they might not be running Ubuntu. So on an Ubuntu machine, if you want to update it, not through that updater, let's say you're being a rebel or it's just not working, you can go in here. You are going to need to do sudo, which is sudo user do. You're going to need to do apt-get. And then the first thing you need to do is you need to do an update. It will ask you for a password. Now it's going to scan through all of your things to look for it. Now, because I had run it through, I knew this was going to be a problem. Now, because I ran it through the software updater, it actually locks the thing I need from it. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. So it scanned through. It's going to scan through. It's going to look for things. So now you're going to run another sudo command. It's going to be sudo apt-get. So yeah, sorry. I know I talked about installs. To a Frozen. Yeah. Was that after you installed the guest editions? Or just randomly? Mine is definitely also freezing. I'm wondering if there's a issue with VirtualBox. Because I'm definitely also having problems, but sudo, yeah, so as we talked about, install is installing for, I don't even get any commands yet. Oh, like just when you boot up to it first time? Oh, you know what the problem with streamer mode is? Is it absolute? Yeah, that's weird. Like when it was installing it, like did the weird thing. Just weird because like I've done this so many times now. Yeah, I'm starting to think it's a VirtualBox issue. I will probably after the stream go and check to see if there's an ongoing issue. Which means the first thing next week is we can talk about what I found. The next step. So yeah, sudo apt-get for installs are to install packages and stuff. Update will run through and see what repos you have and what packages need to be updated. And then to actually update those packages in software, you need to do upgrade. I expect this. Oh, this did work. So I think the error I was getting was because it had already technically done this through the software updates. I was expecting this to actually break on me. Yeah, it's acting definitely weird, which I'm concerned about. But I don't have a. This would not be a normal stream on teaching if it didn't all go wrong. I think this is just going to be. I'm going to do the most scuffed teaching, and I think that's okay. So this did an upgrade. There is another type of upgrade that you should think about doing You don't have to do it all the time. It's not going to actually work if I do it now because I think we have the latest version. But when Ubuntu pushes out a OS level update for a new version, you can get it on your machine by doing a sudo apt-get dist upgrade, which stands for distribution update or distro update. It's not a tech demo if everything doesn't go wrong. Yeah, no, that is true. This is my favorite thing. I don't know why everything is breaking on me. Yeah, okay. I expected this to happen because we downloaded this ISO a week, maybe 2 ago. I think I downloaded it 2 weeks ago. But yeah, when they come out with a major version release, you can do dist upgrades. You should just run this once in a while. Again, if you're running the GUI version of Ubuntu, Software Updater will automatically run sometimes in the background and just tell you, hey, you need to do an update. The nice thing about this is you can do these upgrades. I was upgrading things in the background like GNOME, like my desktop environment. And unlike Windows, I didn't have to reboot my machine. It just did it and everything works. Sometimes if you're using the application that it's upgrading, you need to close out of that. But you'll never have to reboot your entire machine. Unless it says otherwise. There are some few cases. I think all dist upgrades need it because they also do a kernel level upgrade. And kernel is... So if you have hardware and then an OS, you have a kernel that communicates between the two. You might know the term kernel, not in IT, based on antiviruses, because there's been at least a lot of chatter about about kernel level anti-cheats. This is great. This is a really working machine. I guess I should show you guys installing any piece of software, just so I can show you the two ways of doing it. So, oh no. Ooh. In all of my life, I have never experienced... I don't know if I have to say epilepsy warning for this. I'm going to, just in case, like, this... Oh no. Time to get into digital art. Yeah, here's my digital art. I'm upset. This is supposed to be working. Oh no. Alright, hold on, guys. Yeah, let me... I mean, that looks like it's working. Okay, isn't... my mod messaged me and was like, I don't have the sidebar, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't either. This... Oh wait, it's actually working again. Oh my god. Okay, so we're just gonna put that frowny face there for a bit. I'm gonna boot up another goddamn VM from my actual machine that I am doing the stream off of instead of my laptop. So give me just a few seconds. I will leave you with... I will be here. I'm just going to turn on some jams quietly. While I am a little bit more focused on getting that up and running. Bum, bum. And thank you guys for being good sports and just staying along to this fucking massacre. Wait. Sorry. Did anyone catch if the bits actually went through? We're gonna play them again because I just want to see. Okay, they did come through. I just didn't. I just didn't actually perceive that you did that, and then I didn't think to check to make sure that it actually worked the way I wanted. We're gonna do another. Do you think I can do an application capture? Yeah, this is gonna work. Or window capture? We're gonna try. Ubuntu. Oh no, it's not working? Guys, I'm in shambles. I'm having a lot of fun with the fact that this isn't working, but this is actually quite a lot of things to not be working. Oh, and run away. I might get copyright strike for this song. I'm realizing, Power Up Part 3? Oh no. Don't look back. I have to have Ubuntu somewhere on this mission. Oh, I do. Guys, don't worry. I'm so organized that my Ubuntu images are in my music folder. What version of this of 20.04? Guys, we're gonna show you guys how to do a distro upgrade today. I'm 4 major versions behind. I might not be 4. They might have not released a full 4 versions. I have a feeling they did though. That's fine. Here's the thing. I'm not monetized on... Oh, you're right. I don't know if I download my stream. I think if I download my stream, I get the unmuted VOD still. So, like, I believe... if it doesn't work that way, then I'll just start recording these as well. Because I should be able to just pull the whole video unmuted, and then I'll just put it on YouTube because I don't make money anyway, so they can just copy strike me all they want. They don't copy strike anyways, they just claim the video. They can do that all they want. I don't make money. But this should be good. There's so many YouTubers who use this song. Board? No. I need a way of showing this. Just press enter. You know what? I can show this. Okay. So, sorry. I am helping somebody in chat. And doing a bad job about showing you guys. So let me fix that by just showing you guys. Yeah, there's no... I'm just gonna crop the image and then we should be good. Oh, cool. I just dropped that in videos. I'm so organized. All right, we'll just do a Windows capture of MS Paint, possible. Well, I'm waiting for something to move. The whole computer froze again. So, like, it's actually freezing your computer. Like, that's an insane thing to do. Yeah, so Black Soul Shards, one of my mods, is trying to follow along and is having a issue. And I want to see if I can show it on... Window capture. Oh, window capture. Yeah, okay. So, my friend here is having a problem. So what he is getting is called a watchdog bug soft lockup on CPU 0 stuck for 22 seconds. So this is actually a thing I had to deal with at work just a couple days ago. So what is happening here is that it is not a full, it is a soft lockup, which means it's not a full, it is not a kernel panic. But what is effectively happening is that there are too many processes trying to call for things on the CPU or memory. It's generally like either memory or storage is filling. How much storage did you give this? Is the question. But what effectively happens is there's too much and the processor can handle it, and then a bug gets put out that this is like K worker U16, so probably just a Ubuntu boot worker or a worker for some task in Ubuntu is having a problem. This I wouldn't generally be concerned about. You can just generally press enter from it, but it shows an underlying issue. Something about resources being overtaken. So I told them to just press enter. That should have fixed it. I got my mouse back. Oh, is your mouse just getting stuck in the thing? You have to press. If your mouse is being stuck in the VM, you have to press, I think it is control. I think it's left control. Left control or left alt will get the mouse out of the VM. Sorry, I thought I had mentioned that. I think I had mentioned that it will stick your mouse and just... Yeah, no. That's because the VM has captured your input devices. I know I mentioned it, but I think I didn't mention how to get out of it. I think it's right control will pop the keys out. So with that, yeah, you should be able to, yeah, you won't be able to alt tab because the VM won't let you alt tab. Because the VM is eating your capture devices, so your host VM isn't even detecting it. That actually gets fixed with the mouse will move out and about with the guest editions, but you couldn't install the guest editions because you've been having a boot issue. All right, yeah, so that's there. I believe the things I am waiting for. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like you are just getting stuck in the operating system. But the stick issue is just an issue with... it looks like it's probably just an issue with resources. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Music. No, where is it in? Music. Yeah, we're just waiting for something to move because it's causing me a bit of an issue. Oh, there's an ad break for 1 minute and 20 seconds. Lovely. I hope everyone's been enjoying this chaos. It definitely didn't turn out how I expected it. I just want to show you guys this update-ish things and then the 2 ways of installing. Let's check to see if... Let's see if this is going to actually work for me. I think I... What? Yeah, it's just crashing. So I'm gonna try to power this off and power it back on while I'm waiting for my VM to on my other host to spin up. I might take another. I don't know what I'm gonna do next week. I have a week to figure it out, so that's good. But I'm half tempted to buy Computer Build Simulator and play that and see if there's any issues. That might be the plan for next week. Welcome to the back community who got into an ad break. I like that. Well, ain't no way. Yeah, okay. I'm just kind of. I'm in so much shock. Alright. Stream. No, you probably, it looks like you did. I can't. Okay, you gave it 4 gigs of RAM, 8 processing units, and 25 gigs of storage space. That should be more than enough. No, I truly think there is a problem with VMware right now. Oh wait, am I running Hyper-V on this? No, okay, thank God. Well, I think I've had a wonderful time streaming. We're gonna go through the rest of this. Again, I am waiting for something to install. You didn't. When you dragged your CPU, because you have 8 cores, did you drag it to the... There's like a green line and an orange line when making it. Did you drag it to the orange line? Because you want to avoid being in the orange. It can have instability issues. Which is what I'm starting to think that... Maybe that's it. One moment, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I got a phone call, as you guys could see. Edge of the green, I believe. Yeah, that should be good. I'm going to drop my CPU down to 4 just to see if maybe because my CPU is a little bit... Because I know the newer gen Intels are a little bit weird. I don't know architecturally how weird they are compared to a normal one for VMs. Specifically for VMs. I know power efficiency, they're very different. I could just blame Windows 11. I generally like just blaming Windows 11 for all of my problems. But realistically, that's not helpful. No, yeah, no, this is... The App Store is not working. That's so weird. Ooh, why is it so bright now? Oh, okay, now it's not. Alright, we're gonna cut the coffee shops. I think that's probably the problem. What? ISO, USB, or... Alright. Yeah, this is a... Oh, you know what? That's actually a great point. I'm glad I am so smart. Hmm. Alright. Okay. So, I'm going to just show you on a machine that is not set up yet, but but it will suffice for what I need. So, for what I need is I just need something that I can show you guys without really a worry. All right. So yes, this machine is tiny, so we're actually gonna cut down the size. I don't know if you guys. Oh, I guess you guys can see it. I did transition. I'm just making it less white borders everywhere. All right. Transition. Ah, yes. So this is a new and improved. Not really new. It's actually, it doesn't even have Linux actually installed on it, but I'm just going to show you guys how I would 8 cores. Yeah, my Ubuntu's just stuck at the welcome. That's a weird issue. I don't actually know how to fix it. My recommendation would be find out if you are running Windows Pro. Like I would just go type in system information in the search menu on your Windows on your host machine, so Windows, and see if you're running Windows 11 Pro. Because if so, I would actually home. Yeah, I don't think home can run. Let me check. System. I would love to get my hands on some Windows EDU licensing for people. Yeah, you can't run Hyper-V with home, which is annoying. Because Hyper-V would actually be the I would prefer. But just to show like how you install things on Linux, there is 2 ways. One is through this store, through the software center. Or on websites, you can also find the .deb package, which will do the same thing. I looked up software. So let's try to install GIMP, right? A new image manipulation program. It has a terrible name, but it's the name that they went with, and I just happen to know it's in here. I wish they would just change the name. First, GNU. GIMP's on everything. They could just call it image manipulation program. They call it IMP. That's a way funnier name. It's a way better name than than pseudo derogatory term. That's also a fetish term, so it's the worst. So in that way, yeah, so in this way, you can find it in the software, or you can find it on their website. It will be a .deb or Debian package, and then it will just install like you install from any other software center, like even your phone's app store, right? So it's gonna install, it's gonna launch, it's gonna work great. This is taking way longer than it needs to. Oh, probably because this is the machine that's encoding. It's fine. We're fine. The next way, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I have to wait for this to finish installing. All right. Yeah, so you just kind of sit around and wait for this to install, and it does everything. It will download the dependencies I can't write on this screen. Cool. Well, I could write here. That's cool. I need a more permanent solution on that marker thing. I'll figure that out though. I kind of don't want to sit around for this. So I'm gonna cancel it. It will just install it like this. Like there's nothing special. The more Linux way of doing it, I say the more correct way because you guarantee get the like native version, is so you go through you don't actually have to sudo this, so I actually wouldn't sudo unless it tells you to. So I'm going to tell it to apt-get install, right, to install packages. What was that? One moment, guys. I don't fuck with what just happened there. Um, that was weird that Linux did that, or not Linux, that OBS did that. Sudo. So we're gonna do. Oh, I know why. Make sure you are not clicked on OBS while typing in Linux commands. You will mess things up. I don't need that. I don't need that. So you're gonna do apt-get installed for packages. We're gonna install OBS. I think they have a package called OBS. So this wants sudo. So there are two things you can do right here. So sudo, you just need to rerun the thing with sudo in front of it. There's a little bit of a cheat code. You can actually just put bang bang or 2 exclamation marks, and that will actually tell it to just sudo and then append the last command here. OBS doesn't have a package. Well, I know what it does. No. Really? Oh. Hmm. Oh, actually. Let me see if this will help. So I'm just gonna do a sudo apt-get and sudo apt-get upgrade. I'm wondering if it's because it's not a full version or it's out of date. It just doesn't have all of the repos working. Oh no. I'm looking for. Just hold on one moment. I can't see you. Okay. There's a reason I do stream on 2 different machines. It's kind of a mess when I don't. And it's left control or right control to get out of this. This is the magic button that you need to press to not have a capture. I was thinking left control, but that became an issue when my keyboard for my desktop doesn't have a right control. So yeah, so this is going to go through. It's going to install the dependencies and the packages. It's just like what we did for the guest editions, but this time it's just for an actual honest to God application. Oh, sorry, no, this is just updating. Yeah, so this is going to go through and download all of the updates that we're missing because we're several versions out of date. Then we're going to try to install GIMP again with the terminal. I just want to show that it will actually work. And then I will take any questions if people have them. If not, it's gonna potentially end stream early. Is there any persons you guys want me to raid? If not, I will look at other people doing software development. I tried to get other people who are doing software and game development. I tried to get anyone else in the same category, even though I do a little bit different technically. But that's like we're waiting for this update, then we're gonna install. I just want to get prepped to wind down. Again, for next week, I'm streaming on Saturday, which is it's the last stream that isn't on Sunday for a bit. There's a week in July I'm just gonna either skip or the stream's gonna be on a different day. Because I'll be away on a family thing. Though I could no, because it will be ending too late. So like if I did a stream, it would be like late. I might do something security or computer adjacent. Next week I'm literally half tempted to buy PC Build Simulator and just try it out. Like it would be a fun time. Yeah, I think that will be the plan. Unless I can scrounge up money and get miracles to work that the computer I'm buying will ship in time. I just doubt it, and then there's like things I have to do to get that working. And I would rather not fully waste my time on that. The computer. Sorry, I've been quiet. Just this is kind of like the waiting process, and I was looking at PC Build Simulator, see if maybe that's the thing we do next week in case I can't. Or it might be the thing I do. Yeah, because if I can't get it next week, hopefully I can get it by the week next, and then I will just be 1 week off. And that's probably the best move, anyways. Because there's a lot I kind of have to research a bit more. There's a game, Pirate. I may have to, yeah. Of course, yeah. The VOD will come out. I'm probably gonna place all of the VODs up on YouTube. I don't think I'm gonna cut them down. Mostly because I think I would rather redo at least these first few streams. It being like when I'm more adjusted to being live, doing all the things that I have to do with OBS, the chat, and then what I'm doing. So I might like just upload these VODs. I have a standing thing where if you guys find funny clips and you want to like clip me, make shorts out of them, like if you want to like clip my, oh, that's so funny that this is all gonna fade to black. What is that? Why is this fading to black? Sorry, yeah. If I have a standing thing where if you want to like clip me, make shorts, do whatever with my content, you are more than free to do that. Just in the description or wherever, like, just make sure that it's really obvious. Just make sure my Twitch link is really obvious. Put it at the top of the description if it's a short. If it's a TikTok short, put it like on the somewhere on the screen. I don't really care. Have at it. Have at it for that. Like I don't care. I want you guys to have fun with whatever I'm doing. And you know, if you guys get, you know, if somehow you guys get Twitch clips to pop off of me, I'll be impressed. But yeah, the VOD will come out. I'm gonna this one will just automatically be put up on Twitch. The last week's I had to upload because of the error in something. I just had to cut something out. They're gonna be up here, and then again, I will at some point have a YouTube channel. I just don't know if I want to put them on my old YouTube channel where everything from this stream went, or if I want to make a new one. I'm still debating it. It might be a new one. Because I might want to just make like my computer stuff separate from like my art and stuff. Speaking of art streams, I do still make art and I still do sometimes record it. So those always get uploaded as shorts to YouTube. I think it's on the YouTube channel linked here. If it's not, they'll be linked later. All right. So it had a error 2 code. This is great. This is showing me perfection. Okay. Yeah. I have separate channels for my content if it ever gets made. Yeah. I have many different, right? I still have that lore channel. I would like to get back to that too, but it's a lot of work for one person because it's a lot of research, then writing, then I have to script. It's a lot of research to write, to then script it, to then record it, then edit, then edit the recording, edit a video, and then upload it. It was a lot. World building or gaming? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little. I think both have its place. Why would you separate the two though? Like I assume when you mean gaming, you mean all types of gaming. So I would question the like, why do you need to separate world building from gaming? Like all gaming. Maybe it makes sense. I don't know. I feel like that's just like a playlist change. Although I guess maybe it makes sense to split them so that way people can just look at one place for world building lore. Yeah, no, actually, yeah. I think you could do either or, but I guess it does make sense. So in Ubuntu is really nice about when things go wrong. It actually kind of gives you a suggestion to try to see if you can get it fixed. So I'm just gonna copy and then paste it. Figure my homebrew would just get different channel episodes. Yeah. I guess that's true, but like I wonder what the overlay would be, like the Venn diagram of people who watch the gaming content and like the world building. Okay, that's a classic thing. When you see that little arrow, it's because you have something in there that's extra. I started a parentheses and then didn't close it. I disagree. Like most people, like what gamers don't love worlds, right? Like The Dark Souls community loves the world building in Dark Souls. I could see somebody who plays Dark Souls and runs. It messes with the algorithm, but like being beholden or scared of the algorithm is kind of differently, and you could just always separate them later. Right? The idea is that both will drive, instead of driving two channels that don't have viewers to, instead of splitting your viewers to two channels that are already both not big, you could drive them to one channel, because the biggest thing on that algorithm is views, likes, comments, right? Like, instead of just splitting your fan base into two different channels, if you were already established, it would be a little bit different. It can't do this. Well, anyways, this was supposed to just work. You're supposed to be able to just type in sudo apt-get install GIMP. It will ask you yes, and it's supposed to go through an install. I cannot, for the love of me, get this to work. And great, I have an ad break. I love this. So I'm gonna be honest. This should just be working. I'm having some technical issues. I think I will come back to Linux in a bit. Mostly, we will, because when I'm setting up my lab, I will be setting up some Linux boxes anyway, so I will be going back through some of these things, but more on the end of terminal use, where you saw that I could at least install GIMP via the things I think I've shown a bit of what to do with with Linux desktop. I think this is a losing battle for me at some point. And I think I would rather spend my last moments here just kind of going back over okay, hi guys. Oh no. Test. Okay, I can hear myself. So I think with this, first, I want to review kind of the important things here. Ubuntu is Debian based, which is a root distro. Debian is the root distro of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a distro that's, I would consider most beginners of Linux tend to fall into Ubuntu. It uses Debian-based systems use a package manager, which is what manages installs, updates, basically a bunch of the underlying mechanisms for how you interact with the computer. It uses the apt/apt-get package manager, which is great. To use the differences between the desktop version and the server version is what we call a GUI, or a graphical user interface. The server version has none. It is just that terminal that we were using all day long. I think we learned a little bit that it seems like there was an issue with Oracle VirtualBox. I was having issues with. I'm going to do some research, see if this is a common problem, and find any solutions. But this seemed to have had issues, and it was causing many things. The last thing I was doing, I was just trying to cheat code, and it wasn't working. And that's fair. So I think the important thing is to remember is the commands apt get, which this whole thing, the dash get is optional. You don't actually have to put it. You need to know install, which is how to install packages or software. There's install. There's update, which reaches out to the repos of the softwares and the distro. It updates. It updates, or it goes out and finds updates to packages. So scans repos for update. Then the next two that I did teach, there is more to Linux than just this, but these are what I had time for, and what I could get to with the technical difficulties. Upgrades, go through and apply. They download and apply the updates from repo. Dist upgrade will upgrade your will update your OS version number. It will update your OS version to the newest and latest in your branch, right? Ubuntu has its own branch. Ubuntu has its own branch, but also underneath Ubuntu, there's LTS, which is long-term support, and then there's another one, which I'm putting question mark, question mark, question mark. But there's like one that's more I think it might be even called experimental. So this does slower release versus like a experimental or dev, which would do faster releases. With this, yeah, so those are the three things you kind of need to know to get it. But you also need to know that there's a software center, which you can install software from. Install software, you can do it from the software center, or you could do it from the terminal. Actually, there's a secret third option. You can also get .deb packages. I use the term packages and software interchangeably. This is more of the Linux dominated term. I'm trying to break it down to more just it is your software is in packages. You also know that updates you can also just do through the software updater. Important note is that if you start an update through the software updater and then try to do the terminal command line, it might break. That happened to me today. It tends to lock a file, and it's not. It is not generally worth trying to troubleshoot that. Just go through the software updater if you run into a problem where it like locks a file. I know some Linux person's gonna yell at me for that, but welcome. This is about just getting people to understand Linux. I guess I never talked about the benefits of Linux. And I guess the biggest one that most people are gonna claim is the open source. the biggest benefit that most people will probably instantly instantly say is that it's open source and you have full control over the operating system. So unlike Windows, where Windows is proprietary, it also doesn't give you all of the control you want. So, like, in Linux, you can do dumb things like RAM. How RAM works is that the kernel understands where you want random access, where you want those files to be randomly accessed to go. In Windows, you could never change where it's going. Windows will always tell it to go to RAM, right? So, like, let's say you want like your random files to go to RAM. Windows will never let you change this, but Linux, you could technically change it from going to RAM to going to like your hard drive. Why would you do this? You wouldn't, but you have the option to. But that includes more than just that, right? So like I can split Windows, it's hard to split resources, but in Linux, I could run a virtual machine and just pass it some of my CPU, sticks of RAM, and even my whole ass GPU. I did this for a while where I was running Linux, and then to play video games, I'd boot up a virtual machine that would have my graphics card, and then I could play video games there. The reason I can't do that anymore is anti-cheats hate it. Anti-cheats hate it because they think that for some reason, they think people are actually doing any amount of Hyper-V hacking, which is the most insane thing I've ever heard. Most hacking just happens a lot of hacking could happen at kernel level, but they're not using hypervisors to do it. They're just using kernel level attacks. I actually disagree that even most of them are. Another thing Linux gives you over Windows is privacy. This kind of falls under the open source and full control, but Windows, we know Windows is I guess I don't have ads on here because I disabled the widget for it, but like you see ads on Windows. We know that Windows tracks your location. It asks for a lot of data. And we know that Microsoft does sell to data brokers. So with this, we know that in Linux, because it's open source, you can see all of the code, which means security engineers can verify that things aren't going everywhere. Now, don't trust open source fully. As you will have heard a story about a month ago about a very important open source code getting attacked because people just trusted it too much. Nobody thought to check their updates. But somebody did, right? And we caught it, right? If this happened in Windows, we'd never know. Like, it would take years for anyone to know. The other benefit it tends to get put on the lay side is it's a low resource intensive. What do I mean by that? I mean, I gave it 4 gigs of RAM and 8 CPU cores. I didn't need to. I could have given it 2 CPUs and 2 gigs of RAM. If I'm running a server version, I have done this where I've given it 1 CPU, 1 gig of RAM. Right, like it's very low intensity, which means like, unlike Windows, if you have a slow and dying machine, and you want to just keep it as like, maybe you want to keep it as like a spare machine for your little sibling, or you just want to be able to browse the web on it sometimes, like it's just your like couch laptop, right? Like you were like, oh, I just like having something to type away at while I'm sitting somewhere. You can absolutely just take the old machine, put Linux on it, and it will work great. It will also get security support, where unlike Windows 11 requires a TPM 2.0 module, which not all old CPUs have. There is a large faction of things that are just becoming e-waste because of this design, where instead maybe they aren't being used primarily as a main machine anymore, but they could be used as a secondary machine. You could just slap Windows Linux on it, continue using it, and stop it from just becoming e-waste for a couple more years. Which I think would be way better than just, or you could donate it, right? Like educational places could use it. I'm sure there's like college students always need like computer science students always need machines for their random little projects. And that would be a much better life for the computer than just being thrown away because Windows 11 can't run on it. That in all is kind of my wrap up. Like, this is the benefits of Linux. I didn't talk about it before. But it didn't seem to pan out for us today, but I'll probably come back. I don't know. Next week is weird. It'll be next week. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out by. I'll put on an announcement by Monday, Tuesday. I'll just change the schedule on. I'll announce on Monday or Tuesday. It'll go onto. It'll just change the title on the schedule. Change the title of the thing scheduled for Saturday. So it's like Open Office Building My Lab Part 1. It will either stay that way or turn into like PC Building Simulator, probably. I'm leaning towards that right now because I can guarantee do it versus the other thing where it's kind of harder. But anyways, I've rambled on for a while. I should raid somebody. What do you guys want to do? I think we could find. There's so many people who are coding. I don't necessarily have a problem with dropping you into a coding thing. There's somebody talking about high-level Linux stuff. I'm not going to drop you in there because that would be. I think it would be funny, but. Sorry, guys. I almost raided myself. There's one person who's trying to create a Unity 3D game, multiplayer game. I think that would be a fun thing to just go and look at. Goodbye, everyone. It'd be really funny if he doesn't notice.